I think particularly we're all around the same age as well anyway, so I feel like when we were all growing up, I'm sure it's the same with you guys, that it was more like thinner, less women with muscles being portrayed in the media. So it would have been different to see sportswomen, and it was harder to think of yourself that way or be confident in in yourself, to think of yourself any way other than what it was portrayed.
Yeah, when I think back to like when I was younger, I don't really have any memories of being on like Instagram, Snapchat. I've no real memories of like to what it is now. But even like I was a gymnast, same as Becca back in the day. So if you were looking at the girls who were, at the top end winning, they were smaller, petiter women, and you were kind of led to believe the smaller, the lighter you were, the better you were going to be within our sport anyway. But social media wise, I definitely didn't have Instagram at the time, I don't think.
I think growing up, personally anyway, I didn't really see it as a thing. You're a child, you're like playing outside, like all that stuff doesn't matter as much as it did before as it does now, I feel. But I found once I got into sport, you start getting stronger and like muscles are popping and you're like, oh, this is interesting. But then you're like, you feel like the only one, because you go out on the street and you don't see someone who like has a really nice back as a female. So then I think for a while it just felt a bit isolated, and it's like I'm
and it
very
takes just
different.
that like one person to point
person.
out and being like, oh, you're quite muscly, aren't you?
Like, oh,
Or
yeah, exactly, and it's cool. And then you see more females, like even when we started with Koncept and like seeing all of you guys, I was like, oh, okay, there's more of us, which is class, and it makes you feel like this is a good thing. Like I can keep pursuing getting stronger and looking stronger.
I agree.
Yeah, I think I have kind of no real points to add. Like I don't remember being on Instagram or anything when I actually don't remember when
I don't think
Facebook was a thing, and
I don't
was
think
like,
it existed when we were younger.
Yeah, Snapchat, and I was like, no. But like that, like I obviously started playing football with boys, and even then, it wasn't really anything about social media. Like I didn't see any people on social media, Instagram, any of that. I just kind of played football, was out with my friends on the street. Exactly. And then, like that, when I saw people now can, like that, I play football, but I love aspects of whether it's a little bit of skills work, gymnastics, a little bit of weightlifting, but it all works well in my football. Yeah. So you just gotta, like, to then seeing everyone and other girls in different sports, it's nice to relate now, because back then I didn't really think about it. But now, definitely, you're kind of like in a community where we're all different, but quite the same as well. So it is nice.
I don't really remember like anyone in particular, but I do remember there was all of a sudden this like big, strong, not skinny sort of push. But I don't really remember when that was as such, or like if it was one person in particular that started all that. I just remember you saw the hashtag everywhere.
Yeah.
Kind of just took off.
Yeah, like attitudes started changing towards it as well. Like you saw more people wanting to lift weights and not being so like shocked when girls were doing it and looking different as well, which is good.
I think as well, like you can shape your For You page or like your Explore page, can't you? So the stuff you start looking up, like if you're looking up, oh, Hannah Crimble, like how'd she do in her last comp? It'll show you more stuff like that. Yeah. So then your page is like, I'm constantly seeing, like now for me it's normal. It's like if you don't look like really strong, which sounds bad, but the opposite way. But like it's like that's different to me. I'm like, oh, okay, that's the opposite way. I feel like this is normal. Like seeing girls like you is normal now.
Yeah, same.
Because it just makes you feel like you're not the only one, and it's like it's a good thing. It's going in the right direction anyway.
Yeah. Like that, like. You need to eat. Like that is a huge thing. I'm like, that's like thing that like I think I don't know when like that. I kind of said I don't know when it occurred. What person brought the whole strong instead of skinny thing in? But like, yes, to train is great, but you need to eat food. Like I feel like that's like carbs. They're the scariest thing in the world, but they're actually not. Yeah, exactly. Like eat food, sleep well, hydrate, train, and like you're getting stronger and muscular, but you're being healthy. Like, so I'm kind of baffled that that's only kind of being so important in this kind of day and age. Why wasn't it when my nanny was younger or my mom was younger? My mom never had gone into the weight room before. And now she's looking at me like, oh, you're in great shape. I'm like, yeah, eat, train, sleep well, all that stuff. So, yeah, I think it's mad how it's changed, but changing hopefully in a good way.
I think it's mad as well, like, people forget before you want to look a certain way, and before like, oh, I want to get stronger, I want to get skinnier, you're a human being and you have to function as one before you can be an athlete, before you can look a certain way, you need to function as a human being. And then you see people on like such low calories, as you said, because they're so scared of carbs, and it's like, bro, like, it doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter what you look like if you actually can't just get out of bed in the morning, if your hormones don't work properly. Like, that should always be priority, athlete or not.
And it also helps you like see what your body can do.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
On top of that.
It's exciting seeing how much you can push yourself and like how much stronger you can get.
Yeah,
it's cool.
Eat your food, guys. That's the big thing.
What is self-confidence?
What is self-confidence?
That's it.
And do you have it?
Do we all have it? That's the main thing.
Yeah.
I
In certain
think,
aspects.
in particular areas, like I think it's particularly when you're around people like-minded and like people you can relate to, like these girls here, you can feel more confident in yourself. But I think like you're saying when because your For You page, like you said, is everything you're looking at, you're so used to seeing, you're like, great, like everyone's like me, and then you might go somewhere that's a little bit different, like a commercial gym or somewhere like that, like, and you see like all like typical, more like less muscular women, you're like, oh no, like you do lack confidence a little bit then, I think. But
and you notice more people like looking at you and like watching what you're going to do, and you do just sort
I
of.
think it's better to encourage each other instead of like judging.
Because I know, like don't get me wrong, like my family have been quite supportive of me with like football, with my training, but there is an element of, not with my family, but in general, like, oh, like you must be on steroids, or you must be like, you're too muscular, or you train too much, and that can kind of, I'm not saying everyone's like that, but it might take one comment of one person to put you down a little bit, and then you might think, oh my God, am I training too much? Do I look abnormal? But then you just gotta, again, just ignore them and be like, I'm happy with myself. I'm happy where I am now. I'm happy where I'll be in the future. So you just kind of gotta brush it off.
And again, people coming for you in that sense, like all the hate comes from insecurity. And it's so literally they're not secure enough in themselves, so they project that onto other people, and then that makes other people less self-confidence, and it's just like a vicious cycle. I feel like self-confidence, I feel like I've always had it. I've never kind of wavered in like, you know, who I am or what path I'm going on. I don't really let people like kind of cloud it, because first of all, you don't know me, you know, like it's easy to look at me and say something, but like you don't know where I've been, where I've come from, like what I'm doing. So I don't try not to, but as you said, it can, like you're human, you know, thoughts come into your head. But self-confidence, I feel like, is just knowing who you are as like from your own perspective, like blocking out like comparing yourself to other people and what people are saying, and just knowing like I'm on this path, this is who I am, and this is how I'm going to do it, you know. That's how I would.
I think that's an important point you made about people like they don't know you. Like I think social media has made it so easy for people just to assume they know who you are.
Because they're only seeing such a small part of your day or your life.
Literally a fraction of your day. Like people think, oh, all we do is train and play football and do our own life. No, like you don't see everything else that we do. Like,
and there's also like a lot that you don't put up there, so they're like, oh, that's all they do.
I'm like, everyone's like, you just train all the time. I was like, I literally post my training, but I do everything else. I see friends, I see family, like I eat, like all this stuff. But so that can be deceiving. That's probably a bad thing about social media. Well, not bad, but a negative. But look, you just gotta take it.
That's an interesting point. I think it's crazy. The thing that baffles me the most is people who make statements about you as a fact. So they're like, she is on steroids. I'm like,
no, I'm not.
No, you can say, okay, I value your opinion. If you think I'm on steroids, that's fine. That doesn't change the truth. But saying I am on steroids is like, how?
It's like, where did you get that from?
Or like people will answer to other comments and they'll be like, wow, how can she bench this much? And it's like, because she's been training for 6 years and she's been doing, I'm like, bro,
who are you?
Who are you? I'm like, what? It's just so easy for people to just type anything. It's actually kind of scary. I love asking I ask these questions to my friends all the time. We did this yesterday. Like, I love asking deep questions because I feel like you get to really know people. But my thing for sure would be like reaching my full potential. And that's not confined to powerlifting. It's not confined to sport. It's not confined to relationship. It's just a vague statement, like reaching your potential, you know, not leaving anything behind. Because I think regret is a really scary thing, you know, because you can't take it back. You can't do anything else about it. So
I like that.
think we're all just going to steal that.
Like purpose
I
in
think
life.
everyone has that. Yeah.
Having no regrets. Like, I know it's like literally no regrets, like a huge thing. But yeah, I agree. Like, I keep thinking this can be really deep, so I apologize for this. We have one life, and like that, you could like go at any minute, which scares the crap out of me. I have a big fear of that. But you're right, live it, like reach your full potential, whether it's in life, relationship, sport, whatever you want to do. So I agree. That's a very good point.
Give everything your best.
Yeah.
Obviously, I care about my family and friends and all that, and everyone, and my dogs. But like, yes, in case you shout out
Because that
to all
covers
them.
everything, you know?
Yes, it does.
Being a good daughter, being a good wife,
Yeah.
being a good partner,
Yeah,
training partner,
yeah,
all of it.
I agree. It's very good.
I motivate myself because you see what you've been through before and how you started the sport and you didn't know anyone, you didn't know anything about it. You started from 50 kilos on your bench or whatever, and like how much you've worked. And sometimes when you're like, oh, I couldn't be bothered, it's like, but she's put in so much work, you know? So it'd be a shame to just like throw it all away, you know? And seeing your past self and everything you've achieved, you know? Because it's like, you change from time to time and your goals change and they're different. But like, I feel like the person you were before is a completely different person
Yeah.
to they are now. So
I think, that's probably similar to me as well. Like, just, I don't think many people, sit down and look at like their past self and see like where you started. And because if I think back to when I started weightlifting, like it was all just a bit of a hobby, whatever. And if someone had told me when I started I would have competed at the Commonwealth Games, I would have been like, no, like not a chance. So knowing that I was able to reach that, like it's quite exciting to see where could I go. So definitely.
Yeah, I think just the thought of what you could potentially do is probably everyone's biggest motivation. Like, what can I get to? What can I achieve?
Yeah, and once you get to like
Yeah,
that
'cause you don't
level,
know.
you're like, okay, let's go to the next
Yeah.
one. Yeah, there's
and it
there's
depends
no
on you
like
as well.
end
So
point.
it's like it's not an external factor. It's like I can determine where I go
Yeah, exactly.
based on what I do. You know.
Yeah, I think that's like obviously I started with football since I was like 7 or 8. But like I said earlier to you guys, I'm only peaking now, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know how it is in powerlifting, weightlifting, but like with a football career, it could be like 23, 24, 25, 26, you start to peak. Like, this is my first year I've been called into the home base squad. And the home base it's not like being into the Irish squad, but it's training with girls who are involved in there. So it's like a little level up, I suppose, to what I was used to. I was never involved in Ireland underage, never got a look in. Now you're putting in the work. So from back then to when I started football to now, it's like, yeah, okay, I did that because I'm now here. So like the extra training sessions, the hours that you put in outside that no one else sees. Remember what we post? No one else sees the other stuff. So getting to then to now, so yeah, I suppose myself is a big factor as well of motivating. So I agree.
I wouldn't say necessarily play a sport, but definitely be active and do some form of fitness, because like you can, I feel like if I did a sport that wasn't competitive, I'd be like, I can't even think of not being competitive.
I
So
competed
maybe
next.
like even after, if I finished a competitive sport, I definitely keep doing like fitness or like going to the gym and everything. Or maybe I'll even pick up a new sport, who knows?
I think after weightlifting, like competitively, I'll probably go to like CrossFit,
Yeah, that's what I
calisthenics
thought
sort
too.
of way, just because I like the thought of, hopefully down the line and have children and things, being able to inspire them to do sports and stay active, and even just being able to go down to the park and, I don't know, kick a ball about, throw balls in the hoops. Like, it scares me not being able to do that.
Yeah.
So I think it's quite important for me to stay healthy and active, just to hopefully have that end goal.
How long do you guys see yourselves in your current like powerlifting, weightlifting? Like, what's the time frame? I don't actually know because I'm curious.
In weightlifting, masters is 35.
Okay.
I don't think I'll compete in Masters though.
I don't think
Do
I
you?
would either.
No. I've set myself some big goals. So biggest one's probably the Olympics in Paris, which is 2 years. And if we don't get there, hopefully, if we do, who knows, then the Commonwealth is another 2 years after that. And then I think that'll be my last competitive competition, because then I'll be like, getting on, I'll be 29, 30 then. And like, I do have the aspirations to, have kids, get married, all that. So there does become a point where you have to kind of decide. Yeah. What about football?
Yeah, like I don't know. I think now, like I said earlier, I'm still only kind of finding myself. I'm getting a bit more noticed. Ireland is obviously what I'd like to go as play for the Irish team. Again, it's a big stretch, but you never know. And then there's aspirations of eventually play in the UK. Again, I've seen girls play from my league, my age, and they're doing really well now. So I'm never gonna knock it, but like that, you gotta put in hours upon hours of extra training, everything else like sleep, eating around that. So you gotta dedicate to it and commit to it. So it's like, do I want to do it? Yeah, I do. So we'll just see how it goes. But like that, I think footballers, I don't know, like 30, 35, I don't know. And it's like that, do you want to exceed that? So we'll see. How about you guys? Tell me a little bit.
I think I have goals, but they're not based on like, similar to you, but not based on specific competitions. So they're based on like kind of number-wise vibes.
Yeah.
So it depends on when I complete those, because I love going from sport to sport to sport. Like there's so many out there, and you've so many years. Like I just want to keep moving on. And originally I only wanted to do powerlifting for 3 months. I was like, I'm just going to try it. Literally do it 3 months, maybe do a comp. I'm feeling cheeky, and then move on. But like I fell in, well, like I just fell in love with it and the people, especially in the community. So I have goals that I kind of want to achieve. If I achieve them, you know, at the end of the year, then maybe we can move on. Next year, we'll see. But yeah, there's no specific time frame. Depends on when I get what I want.
Yeah. Do you think you'll be active for life after you retire?
Absolutely. I like that, playing with your kids, being able to walk up and stairs comfortably. Like I see so many older generations now struggling to do basic things like that, and I don't want to be in that position for myself, my kids, if I have them in eventually. But yeah, so I agree. I absolutely would be, whether it's going for a jog or going for a walk or literally basic stuff. Yeah, I think so.
I think it's important though to find an activity that you enjoy. Like I think that's people's main issue with
Is
not
enjoying it.
Yeah, because like loads of people are like, oh, I hate going to the gym, blah
It's
blah.
like you
How
don't
do you
need to
do
go
it
to the
all
gym,
the
yeah.
time? Like, it's big, yeah, I know.
The gym's
like,
actually, it kind of sucks a
I
wee
know,
bit. Like, I don't
so
like going to the gym.
boring. They're like, how do you spend 3 hours there? I'm like, well, I'm not just going to the gym. But yeah, no, you literally need to find something that you enjoy. Like that's like with like, even if it's like just a little class, like if that's something you enjoy, grand, or if it's something wild, go and do that then. If as long as it's like keeping fit and active.
Even dancing, people underestimate. Like everyone loves to dance.
And you
Take a
burn,
dance
you break a
class.
sweat
You
up over
so
it.
wet
Lord,
dancing.
Yeah, it's mad.
Even in the club, I remember when I was
We all have our whips on in the club.
but like, do you remember like when you go out and you're going like, I don't know, I was in like maybe like third or like fourth year, fifth year. And like you go to that nightclub, the back of my neck, my hair will be like sweating. All the
Makeup
time.
gone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you see the photos, you're like, ooh.
And the amount of steps you get done after night out.
Yeah, I
Ridiculous.
agree, so.
Would most of your friends be your teammates, or do you kind of have like two separate groups?
Such a good question.
I have separate groups.
I have 2 groups.
Yeah,
Like
I have 2 groups. I have
Yeah.
school friends, and then I have my football friends, and obviously they're very different. That's just fine. I like the difference. So yeah, but it's nice to have different circles. I think, but obviously you don't want 50 million friends, but or you can if you want. But I like having a certain amount of groups and having different
Interests?
interests. Yes. So like my school friends, like might be, I don't know, something different to football. You get me, like different like interests. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. I think
It is good to be able to step away from like your sport or whatever you're doing, because it can get a bit much
Overwhelming,
sometimes
yeah.
as well. But I'm quite lucky. My friends outside of my weightlifting are really like supportive and almost like really like into my weightlifting with me. Like, yeah, they're like, oh, like if they're planning say a night out or dinner, they're like, when are your competitions? Like when suits you?
That's
And then they'll
very
plan it
nice,
around
yeah.
that. So I'm quite lucky that way. They're not like, oh well, she kind of sucks, she's never coming out with us.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
They
You
want
have to have
see
people
I've
that
heard of
respect.
people like that as well, that have
There
friends
can
that are
be,
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but like I think those probably friendships don't last as much when they're
Oh,
like that.
yeah.
Yeah, because I'd be the same like that. I have like one group of friends that are from for years, but I feel like they all are kind of involved in sport as well, so they also get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair.
But yeah, and then you have like your weightlifting friends who obviously get it.
Yeah, all you do with them is train and meal prep.
That's interesting, because I only have one group, and it's like my training partners essentially.
I feel like I'm all
close.
closer with them. Like my the ones that like I've done sport with,
You see them all
like
the
my
time.
gymnastics friends as
Yeah,
well.
you see them all the time.
You definitely
Yeah.
talk to them more, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like I love relatability. I love I feel like I connect with someone really well when they completely understand,
Yeah.
you know, what I'm doing or what I'm going through. And I do have friends outside, but I don't really talk to them as much because I feel like time as well. It's like you're training, working, and then it's like it's kind of handy if your friends are in the gym because at least you get to see them, you know, that type of way.
And they kind of get if you've had a bad session. And
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
yeah,
They
I agree.
understand it, you
Yeah.
know.
So my mom and dad, neither of them played football, to be honest. My dad, like golf. My mom was a runner and swimmer, so completely different. But I'm an only child, so all my cousins were boys. Well, like 3 of them are girls, a lot of them are boys. So I used to play with them in my nanny's garden. And then literally from then I was like, okay, where's the closest team to me to play football at like 6 or 7 or 8? And it was a boys team. And then just from there, built up. A girls team was established when I was like, I think under 10s or 11s. So I went to the girls team. Okay, progressed to a different team, made friends, went with them. So like that, it's just from playing with my cousins and friends when I was younger, and here I am now. So it's just like a childhood thing, I guess.
Yeah.
Not
Did
too
you have
interesting.
any issues like getting like onto like the boys team or?
Like I feel like you'll always get that, like when you're younger, especially when we were younger, it was kind of like remember like the Yorkie bar. You
Yeah.
do you remember it had
Like
a
just for
girl
men
couldn't
or
eat it.
something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like literally it was like I remember like I cried because a boy told me I couldn't eat that, and I was like, why? But like that, yeah, I think it's more an issue. It's like, oh, she's a girl, she's not good enough, or she should be on the bench and coming on, like she can't keep up with the boys. And it's kind of like I'm gonna accept and understand where they're coming from, but then again,
But there was
you
no
see-
other choice.
Yeah,
Like,
like you see now boys in ballet or dancing, it's like you'd never see me come at that guy and be like, you can't dance. Never. So like there was a little bit of it, but like at the end of the day, let me play football. Like let me play with your sons. It's not a big issue, but I think now it's a bit better. Like, but there's a lot more girls teams, even I know in Bows, underage. But yeah, like there's always gonna be a little bit of that, but it was pretty smooth sailing because I'm here now. I'm not out of the sport, so kind of grateful for that.
I did gymnastics until I was 18. I was absolutely shocking at it. I loved it.
Yeah.
I tried really hard, but I was shy. Like I was really bad. And I coached and everything. And then when I stopped, I kind of spent a few years like just going to the gym, and I hated it. But I still wanted to just keep active. And then my best friend was doing CrossFit. So then I came to CrossFit with her and I loved it.
Yeah.
And there was like a tiny bit of weightlifting in CrossFit. There's like a little weightlifting class. So I was like, oh, I'm going to do this little weightlifting class. And I was really bad as well. I couldn't overhead squat, couldn't do anything. And then I was like, oh, I could kind of feel like it was challenging. I was like, I kind of liked that it was challenging.
I get that
So I was like, okay, I keep coming back. And then eventually, because I was in third year in college, so InterVarsities came up, which is a college competition, and ever since I did InterVarsities, I just kept doing weightlifting.
caught the bug. So I've done a lot of different sports. Gymnastics was my like competitive background. I did it for 10 years, but I also did figure skating, athletics,
Wow.
hockey.
So cool.
Well, Northern Ireland. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they have a rink in
It's a
Northern
nice
Ireland, I
little-
think, yeah.
So I did a lot of like different sports, but gymnastics was the one I sort of chose to progress, I guess. But I was also not average at best, I would say. But I also did acrobatic gymnastics. I only did artistic so like bars, beam, vault when I was like a lot younger, and then moved into acrobatic, and then just sort of got to the age where I just didn't want to do it anymore. Wasn't really doing anything. I was going to just commercial gyms, hating life on cross trainers, didn't have a clue what I was doing, like. And then it was when CrossFit became a thing, and was just sort of doing CrossFit, happy enough, just sort of ticking away. And it was actually one of my friends wanted to join this weightlifting gym, and she went on at me for a while, like, will you just come with me my first day? Because I didn't have an interest of going. And then finally caved in, away we went, and that's that. Just
The rest
stayed
is
there,
history.
yeah. The rest is history.
For me, like I've done a few sports. Like I did dry rowing. I didn't want to.
What?
do it.
What is that?
It's like it's that on a
Oh.
I
Yeah.
and it moves.
Ski or
Yeah, yeah.
the row?
like it's the weirdest. I didn't want to do it, and because we did it in PE.
And you're
and
really just
I
really
was
good at it.
And see, no,
That's another championship.
Because I take everything so seriously. Everyone else was like, "Oh, I don't want to." I was,
You're probably breaking world records. Like,
and it was like, "Oh, you're really good at it. You should come." And I was like, I genuinely hate it. Like, I'm just competitive because I'm competitive. Yeah. And then I did it because I just couldn't say no, I did it for a year. I did get like Leinster medals or something.
Of course
I
you did.
Well in it. I did well in it.
Not surprised.
I can.
Did
You're so
basketball
good.
for a bit, and then athletics was the one I did for a while. So like I started really young, like running, doing everything, long jump, blah blah. Then they figured I was good at like throwing sports, like strength, the strength part. So like field, so shot put and discus was my thing. I went to Celtics, like national champ for ages in both of them. Then I fell out of love with it. Like I never liked training when I was younger. Like it was something I had to do. I trained 2 times a week. That was it. In a field, throwing a ball. That's fine. It was very academic. And then it came to college, huge personality switch. Like it became a jock or something. Sports. Before it was like books, it was sports. So then I got a scholarship to UCD for the throwing or whatever. And we had strength and conditioning classes for it, as well as your field throwing. And I loved that way more. Like we were doing like sled pulls and like learned how to squat and bench. I was like, I was doing that more than the other things. I was like, well, stop that and do this. Then
That's
lockdown hit.
mad.
The lockdown, I did nothing. I did nothing during lockdown. And then I was getting so lazy. Me and my friend were like, okay, we're going to do challenges. We're going to do our ab workouts in the kitchen. Like, did you do yours? Yeah, I did mine. And I kept with it. She stopped. And I was like, oh, this is fun. Like, I want to go to track. I was like, I want to do more, because I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. Started doing like running training. Find a gym, went there, loved it. I was swinging off poles, doing body weight. It was unreal. I loved it. And I was using stuff I learned from strength and conditioning. And then what happened? I think lockdown happened again.
Yeah,
there was too.
Yeah.
And then one of my Olympic weightlifting friends, she went to a comp. She went to a comp, and I tagged along, and I saw all of it, and I was like, I miss competing so much because like I used to compete all the time. I was like, I need to do a sport, and I was like, calisthenics isn't really an option. Oh yeah, body weight was thrown in there somewhere. And then I was like, I really need to compete. I was like, what could I compete in? I was like, powerlifting, a squat, bench, I know how to do that. Deadlifting, I learned how to do. It's like, yeah, I looked up all the records. Like, yeah, I could take that. Yeah, I could take that. Me with my 130 squat and it's 160. I was like, yeah, I could do it. And then I literally
you did.
I did. I did. It's that optimism. I'm so optimistic, guys. So then I literally text the page, because Wara got an ad for abs, and then she sent it to me. She was like, oh, look, you could go here. And I was like, class. I texted the guy. He's like, come in, and then it was just from there. Yeah.
That's interesting though, because like that coming in here, I knew nothing really about our backgrounds, so now I like that.
I think it's only starting to come out though that like females are different to males, just biologically. They're not the same. So even just like through recovery, nutrition, like I don't know about anyone else, but on Instagram I'm getting a lot of messages of people doing like PhD studies,
same.
and it's all to do with like females in sport and things. So I think there is maybe a push for that to change. But yeah, I don't know.
There's huge differences in sport. Like I know in my sport especially, like a lot of girls, and it's becoming more like familiar that you actually have to plan your programming and your training around your cycle.
Yeah.
Because it's like you
Absolutely,
have
yeah.
weeks where it's like your strength production is like gone essentially. So you need to know when to peak because it can affect it. Like you're like, oh, this weight is easy and it doesn't come off the floor, and it's like, why? And that can mess with you a lot. So it's like even knowing more about that, and like I think it'd be a great niche to get into, like just doing more research, because we'd all benefit from it because there's so many women in sports now.
And like I'm still learning like about my cycle. So say for
Absolutely,
example, when I first started training, this was like when I was 17, a couple of years ago, I lost my period because I was like either my training was too aggressive or I wasn't eating enough. That was a huge thing when I was younger. And I got back and it's like I didn't know how to deal with it, or it was irregular. I get it in different times and I was trying to track it, and then my training would go off, my moods go off. So it, like definitely that's an area, like you said, it needs to be covered a lot more, I think, because like that lads have it easy.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that, I'm joking, but you know what I mean? In that
They have a
regard,
lot less to
yeah,
think about.
a lot less to think about, but yeah, I think there should be more on females, because
There should be so much more research done.
Yeah.
I'm actually really surprised about that.
yeah, I'm very surprised with that as well.
But maybe now that there's more females in sports,
Yeah,
there's, like, a
and
bigger
getting to higher
pool of
level as
people.
well.
Like it's ridiculous, like the amount of high-level female athletes in any sport in the world. We might not even know the sport and like the female that's in it or whatever, but like we're just we're at level with the lads or the men, I think, in relation to that. So definitely I think there needs to be.
And 6% is crazy.
Yeah.
Though.
I was a bit shocked by that myself.
Who else is there that's kind of up there?
See, that's what I'm saying. There's loads that we don't know that I don't know about that could be in a great sport or field that I just don't know about. Like,
I think
don't
it's
know.
hard to compare different sports too.
Like, you know that picture on the wall over there?
Yeah.
That weightlifter.
Oh,
I don't know who that is, but you guys are, you're there.
Yeah, he's like world champion.
That's I would know, and you guys might not know. Like, do you guys know who Katie McCabe is?
No, like I would struggle to name any
She's
footballers.
like Irish footballer captain for the women's team, and she plays in Arsenal. But you guys wouldn't know that, like, 'cause it's not Irish was in your field.
Yeah.
So I think that's hard to judge. Like, I love Kate Terry, don't get me wrong.
You can definitely like respect.
Oh, respect it.
The like
she's definitely up
dedication
there.
and
But like
the
that,
talent.
I
but-
wouldn't know a famous and great powerlifter, female or male. So it's like, it's like, where do you distinguish? But like, there's so many great athletes that go unnoticed as well. So, but like, I like you, Katie Taylor. You're great.
Yeah.
We'll say top 3 to be safe. Yeah, definitely top 3.
Yeah.
I'm your fan.
She was one of my idols because she used to train above us in gymnastics.
No
yeah.
way.
So like we used to train like a little school what they called, like PE hall, and like the like platform, do you know, like upstairs platform. So she used to like train up there, and we do a little gymnastics downstairs. So like
That is crazy.
I'm like obsessed with her because I always used to see her when I was younger, being like,
I want to be like
yeah.
That's pretty cool to be fair.
Yeah. But then that's such a big thing with like visibility. 'Cause, like you see her and you see her achieving. So
Yeah.
I think you don't realise how much visibility actually does affect you, like in the moment. Like you don't really, you think, oh, sure, what does it matter if I see everyone doing X, Y, and Z? But it actually does make a big difference.
Yeah.
I think it's
I
harder
dunno.
to judge in team sports as
I
well.
was just going to
It's
say.
very hard to judge in team sports. I agree. But yeah, individual definitely might be a little bit when you have a ranking system as well.
Yeah, especially when it's like weightlifting, powerlifting.
Yeah,
It's like
you
a
guys
number.
have your
like
class
that's
and
it,
then your
really,
weight,
isn't it? Yeah.